Hello and welcome to another episode of Guinea Pigs with Greg, and this time we're looking at the pink-eyed golden boars that we're going to be using this season with the breeding sows that I showed in the last video. So hopefully we'll be able to find the right boars for the right sows. I'm not going to do a pairing video on the Goldens because it'd be pretty self-evident which pigs we'll be using with which sows, I should imagine, because we have quite a mix of boars which have varying properties, and the sows will need correcting in the right way. I value boars very highly in the stud, as you've probably heard in other videos. The boars carry all the attributes across as many sows as we can put them with. So if you have small eyes in a boar, you're going to get small eyes out in all the babies. Maybe not all of them, but a majority of them. The more times you use that boar, the more times that bad attribute is going to be passed on in future generations. So we look for positive attributes in the boars that we want to pass on. So big heads, which allow big body growth. We look for good ear placement. We look for good eyes. These things become standard in our boars. And then we can look to refine these in smaller points. I've started to prepare a video on head shaping guinea pigs when selecting for breeding. And this is a little bit more advanced breeding techniques, but you'll see now that my golden boars have slightly different head shapes to pair off with sows with different head shapes. And when you start understanding this, you can understand the genetics of growth and muscle placement, and how you can turn a breed into a much larger breed with much better attributes. Because ideally we're looking to get as close to the breed standard as possible. So if we've got boars that are closest to that breed standard, it's going to be better for us in the long run. Tend not to use your showiest boars in the breeding pen. Some people do, some people don't. But I find my showiest boars are usually my typiest boars, which means their heads are slightly too short. I prefer a much more oblong, square head, where there's plenty of room to grow and it develops from the back of the jowl, leading to a nice dome across the top of the head. And that's the type of boars that I'll be looking for. You will see that I do have a boar with a much shorter head. Again, I'm only using him as a slight experiment to see what does happen and to see if my theory still holds true. It did 10 years ago, it did 15 years ago, and I'm pretty sure it still will. But it just seems a shame for this boar to be left alone in a cage on his own for 3 months until showing comes back on. So we have used a short-headed boar. So I've selected 4 boars that we're going to use in the breeding process to pair with our different sows. This boar is son of Ruskin. I think you'll agree he's got a very wide muzzle and a very tall head. A very even ear set, if not slightly short. A tall head with a bold eye, and very good colour. Okay, from this angle you can see this pig's body shape is very compact. It's got a very rich colour, and you get to see the size of the animal. So when selecting a boar, we look for properties that we're trying to replicate throughout the stud. So we're looking for attributes that will be desirable. That be its size, be it ears, colour, coat qualities, type, size of head, shape of head, boldness of eye. All the things that make up the breed standard are the things that we're looking to pass on to the offspring. And this pig has a lot of the desirable qualities that I'm looking for to pass on to the offspring. So we may well use this boar with a couple of the sows. This boar is Wren, another very large boar, I think weighing at just over 4 pounds. He's also bred from the Ruskin line, carries very good colour, which is something I like because with good colour comes good short coat. Stands well, very well balanced ears and a very large head. I find the larger heads allow the animal to grow bigger, so we tend to use these taller headed boars with the typier sows. Again, very good muzzle. And the head is fairly square set, which I'll go through in another video. So Corinth's surprise is named so because Corinth was his father. The surprise was that
I actually retained a boar from him. He bred nothing but sows, and none of which were particularly useful until this wide-headed boar came out. The ears aren't exactly where I'd like, but he's got a very short head, so I do like to keep a bit of variety in the stud. He's got an incredibly wide muzzle, rich colour, and again with this short head comes very small ears. You have to be very careful which types of sows we put this to, because we don't want these short ears creeping into the stud. And remember, using a boar is half of your stud, so those genes pass to every sow that it goes to, whereas a sow's genes only pass on in the one litter. So we do have to be careful when selecting sows with this boar. So we probably look for bigger headed sows with plainer, flatter ears to just counteract this boar's faults. But the attributes that this boar have are very desirable for show pigs, so we may well use him. This is the last boar to be bred from Ruskin, my old stud boar. He is the richest colour of all the boars in the shed. Very fiery colour, probably a touch rich for the show bench, but he counteracts some of the lighter sows that we have in the stud. A very tall head, slightly triangular in shape, very much like a boar called Doric that I bred years ago. As you can see, his undercolour's coming through lovely there. He's had 2 litters so far, and I've kept all the youngsters, so I'm fairly confident that we'll be using this boar again because he's very well balanced. He doesn't excel in any one attribute other than colour, but he's just a completely balanced pig. So he may well go with more glamorous sows. But overall, I think he's something we should definitely consider to use in the breeding pen. This young boar is Inigo. He's from the Ruskin line as well, so he's second generation Ruskin line, so Ruskin's son was his father. Very young boar, not quite sure if he's ready to be used yet because his ears need to settle and his muzzle needs to develop. He's very pretty and well balanced, but I wonder if we should maybe do a test mating with this boar to see what comes out. So we may select a single sow for him, or we may just run him on a little longer just to see how he develops, because we don't want to put bad attributes into the stud. Although this pig doesn't currently have any, things can change quite a lot in a very short space of time. He stands very well, great muzzle, very well balanced head, and again, excellent colour.
I hope you enjoyed seeing my breeding golden boars. There's some pretty pigs in there, some very masculine looking pigs, and yeah, they're all from a good line, and we keep records going back a long way. I can trace my lineage straight back to Gary Taylor's pigs, and Gary Taylor can trace that lineage back through Dave Alton's pigs, who can trace that back all the way through to, I'm guessing, Frank Clark and above and beyond. So yeah, we're quite lucky to know that. Knowing the history of your pigs is very fundamentally important, because you need to know where those lines have come from so that you don't accidentally cross those lines, or you don't accidentally breed away from those lines. So if you keep noticing that you're retaining all of the sows from a certain boar line, you need to use that boar more. If you notice you're retaining all your boars from a different line, you need to use those boars more. So I find it very interesting keeping breeding records, and I can probably do another video on record keeping and how to line breed correctly without going too close to the mark. I hold the values in guinea pigs the same as humans, so if it's an acceptable mating in the human world, it is an acceptable mating in the animal world. So, and as per usual, if you could give me a couple of thumbs up, a like and a share, subscribe, all the things, all the buzzwords that keep the social media and the internet going. Yeah, if you could do all that for me, that would be absolutely fantastic. We're getting some traction now, and people are starting to follow us and making suggestions on videos. I will be doing some more interactive things, so later in the year we'll be doing some things where the viewers can send me in pictures of their guinea pigs, and we can maybe have some online shows and some things. But yeah, any suggestions for new videos, just send them across. It'd be fantastic. And as usual, thanks for watching. Bye bye.